Let me ask you something strange. What if the difference between being broke at 45 and financially free at 45 had nothing to do with your salary, nothing to do with your degree, nothing to do with luck or timing or even how smart you are? What if it came down to about 10 tiny things you do or don't do every single day? Now I know what you're thinking. Yeah. Cut the coffee. Stop buying avocado toast. But that's not what this is about, not even close. The habits we're talking about today are so quiet, so unsexy, that most people walk right past them. And while they're walking past them, the people who actually practice these habits are slowly, invisibly, building more and more wealth without ever looking like they're doing anything special. So if you've ever felt like you're working hard, but somehow never getting ahead, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to see money and your daily routine completely differently. And remember to subscribe to stay informed on our feature videos. Let's dive right in. Here's the trap most people fall into. We've been conditioned to think that wealth comes from one big moment: the promotion, the raise, the investment that 10x's overnight, the side hustle that suddenly blows up. So we spend our whole lives waiting for that one moment to arrive, while our everyday habits slowly work against us in the background. Psychologists call this future self-disconnection. It's the idea that our brain literally struggles to connect our present actions to our future outcomes when the gap is too large. When you spend $20 on something you didn't need, your brain doesn't process it as "I just moved further away from financial freedom." It processes it as "I got a little dopamine hit right now, and that's what matters." And this is why most wealth-building advice fails people. It focuses on the big moves, the dramatic strategies, when the real game is being played out in the small, invisible habits you practice every single day. So let's change that. Here are 10 daily habits that quietly build wealth over time. The first habit: pay yourself first before anything else. The moment money lands in your account, most people start spending. Bills, groceries, entertainment, a few things they didn't plan for, and at the end of the month, whatever's left over is what they try to save, which is usually almost nothing. Wealthy people flip this completely. They decide in advance how much they're saving, move that money out immediately, and live on the rest. It's not about discipline. It's about removing the decision entirely. When the money isn't sitting there, you don't spend it. Automate this and you've turned willpower into a system. The second habit: track every outflow, even the tiny ones. There's a psychological concept called pain of paying. When we use cash, we feel it. When we tap a card or click confirm order, the brain barely registers it. And this is exactly how we end up spending hundreds of dollars a month on things we barely remember buying. People who build wealth aren't obsessed with earning more. They're obsessed with knowing exactly where their money goes. Not to judge themselves, just to see clearly. Because you can't optimize what you can't measure. Even 5 minutes at the end of each day reviewing your spending rewires how you think about money at the moment of purchase. The third habit: learn something about money every single day. This one doesn't cost a single dollar, but it compounds just like interest does. Think about it like this. If you spend just 15 minutes a day learning about personal finance, investing, or how businesses work, that's roughly 90 hours a year. 90 hours of financial knowledge built up silently, invisibly, turning you into someone who makes better decisions almost automatically. The average millionaire reads more than 2 books a month, not because they have more free time, because they understand that knowledge is the asset that multiplies everything else. The fourth habit: live below your means, consistently, not occasionally. This one sounds painfully obvious, but here's what people miss. It's not about being cheap. It's about creating a gap, a consistent, intentional gap, between what you earn and what you spend, because that gap is where wealth is born. It doesn't matter if you make $50,000 a year or $500,000. If the gap is zero, your wealth is zero. History is full of athletes, entertainers, and executives who earned millions and ended up broke because they had no gap. The habit isn't suffering through deprivation. It's consciously designing a life that costs a little less than you make, and then protecting that gap like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. The fifth habit: review your financial position weekly. Most people check their bank balance when they're about to run out of money. Wealthy people check it on a schedule, regardless of how good or bad things are going. This habit does something powerful to your psychology. When you review regularly, you stop being afraid of your numbers. You start seeing patterns. You notice the leak in your budget before it becomes a flood. And you create what psychologists call a financial identity, a sense of yourself as someone who is on top of their money, and people act in alignment with how they see themselves. The sixth habit: Avoid lifestyle inflation. Here's one of the most dangerous traps in personal finance. You get a raise, you get a better job, you start earning more, and almost immediately, your spending rises to match. New car, bigger apartment, better restaurants, nicer holidays. This is lifestyle inflation, and it's the reason so many high earners are still living paycheck to paycheck. The habit of resisting this pull, even partially, is what separates people who build wealth from people who just look wealthy. When income goes up, keep expenses flat for at least 6 months. Put the difference somewhere, it will grow. That one habit alone can change the entire trajectory of your financial life. The 7th habit, use the 24-hour rule for non-essential purchases. Every time you're about to spend money on something you didn't plan for, wait 24 hours. That's it. Just wait. What you'll find is that roughly half the things you were about to buy, you simply don't buy. The impulse fades. The urgency disappears. Your brain has time to catch up with your emotions. This one habit can save the average person thousands of dollars a year without a single budget spreadsheet. The 8th habit, invest something, no matter how small, consistently. Here's the habit that most people delay until the timing is right. Spoiler, the timing is never right. The most powerful force in personal finance is compound growth. The idea that your money earns returns, and then those returns earn returns, and that cycle accelerates over time. But compound growth has one non-negotiable requirement: time. The longer your money is invested, the more dramatic the outcome. $100 invested consistently every month from age 25 at a reasonable return becomes something extraordinary by retirement. The same behavior starting at 35, the gap is shocking. The habit isn't investing large amounts. It's investing consistently every month, without stopping, without waiting for a better moment. The 9th habit, protect your credit like it's cash. Your credit score is a financial tool that most people ignore until they desperately need it, which is exactly when ignoring it hurts the most. A strong credit score means lower interest rates on every loan you ever take. Lower interest means you keep more of your own money. Over the course of a mortgage or a car loan, a better credit score can literally save you tens of thousands of dollars. Paying your bills on time every time, keeping your credit utilization low. These aren't just responsible behaviors, they're wealth-building habits in disguise. The 10th habit, build and protect your network. This last one surprises people, but the data is clear. Your income, your opportunities, your career trajectory, all of it is profoundly shaped by who you know and who knows you. The habit is simple but requires consistency. Add value to people around you regularly. Help without expecting immediate return. Show up. Stay in touch. Be someone people want to bring opportunities to. Wealth isn't built in isolation. Every significant financial leap in most people's lives, a better job, a business opportunity, an investment tip that paid off, came through a person. The habit of investing in relationships is an investment that pays compound returns just like any other. Here's the deeper truth that ties all 10 of these habits together. None of them are about money. Not really. They're about identity. They're about who you decide to become on an ordinary Tuesday morning, when there's no big motivational moment pushing you, when life is just normal and unremarkable. The psychological research on wealth is striking. Studies consistently show that the gap between financially successful people and those who struggle isn't intelligence. It isn't income. It's behavioral consistency over time. It's the accumulation of small, repeated choices that compound invisibly until one day the results become undeniable. Think of it like a river carving through rock. Day to day, you can't see the progress. The rock doesn't look different this afternoon than it did this morning. But return in 10 years and the landscape has completely changed, carved out by the relentless, quiet, consistent action of the water. That's what these habits do to your financial life. They change in the landscape, slowly, quietly, and with absolute certainty. So what do you actually do with this? Don't try to implement all 10 habits at once. That's the recipe for overwhelming yourself and abandoning everything within 2 weeks. Pick 2. Just 2 habits from this list that feel most relevant to where you are right now. Focus on those for the next 30 days until they feel automatic, until they're just part of who you are. Then add 2 more. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress that compounds. A slightly better financial decision every day, repeated across years and decades, produces results that feel almost unbelievable from where you're standing right now. And here's a reframe that might change how you see this entire process. You're not sacrificing your present for your future. You're designing a present that your future self will be deeply grateful for. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth that the financial industry doesn't want to tell you. There is no secret. There is no shortcut that works consistently. There is no strategy that replaces the daily, boring, unsexy work of building good habits and letting time do its job. The people who seem to have made it financially, most of them didn't get lucky. They got consistent. They showed up for their money every day, even when the amounts were small, even when progress felt invisible, even when it would have been so easy to give up and spend everything they had. Wealth is not what you earn. It's what you do quietly, consistently with what you earn. And it starts tomorrow morning. If you stayed with us to the end, don't forget to subscribe for future video updates and like, share, and comment your own opinions. Thank you and stay blessed.